Wondering when we'll finally see Skirk in action? You won't have to wait much longer. Version 5.6 drops on May 7th, and that's usually when the build-up for the next patch starts gaining momentum. If Hoyoverse sticks to their usual timeline, Skirk's drip marketing should hit the scene the following Monday, May 12th. That's when we'll get her official splash art vision reveal, and probably a short teaser post on Twitter and HoYoLab. But the real hype begins right after. The 5.7 beta is expected to go live immediately after 5.6, and that's when we'll finally see Skirk's gameplay in action. Not trailers, not vague leaks, but actual in-game footage. We're talking animations, skill effects, stance swaps, and even her new model circulating online. That'll be our first real chance to see if all the theory crafting holds up. So if you've been waiting to see how she feels before deciding to pull, mid-May is the moment of truth. Let's get into the details. Skirk is a 5-star Cryosword user designed purely as an on-field main DPS. No clones, no off-field utility, she's all about staying active and dealing damage with enhanced normal attacks and a flashy elemental burst. Her damage scales off ATK, and her unique mechanic kicks in after using her elemental skill, which fuels a new combat stance. Think of it like a temporary transformation that powers up her attacks until it runs out or is spent via her burst. Now here's where things get spicy, and maybe a little worrying. Skirk's full power hinges on team composition. If you're not running her with Cryo and Hydro teammates, you'll lose a huge chunk of her potential damage. Specifically, if your party includes any other elements, you're dropping at least 30% of her output. This isn't just a random penalty, it's tied to how her Stick Severance passive works. Hydro and Cryo teammates trigger stacks that ramp up her damage. Up to 70% more normal attack damage and up to 60% more burst damage. But without those specific elements on your team, those buffs just don't exist. That means experimenting with team comps outside Hydro or Cryo. Pretty much off the table. This design choice makes her team building incredibly rigid. Want to pair her with Nahida or Xiangling? Tough luck, you'll lose a serious part of her kit. Sure, there are great synergies with characters like Farina, Shinha, and Ryathisli, but compared to flexible DPS units like Navia or Nouvelette, the options feel a lot more limited. It punishes creativity and forces you into very narrow team archetypes. And speaking of Nouvelette, remember how he's been dominating the Spiral Abyss? That might be changing. According to recent leaks, the upcoming endgame mode, not in 5.7 but maybe later, could shake things up. Supposedly, it'll feature bosses with tens of millions of HP, and even busted combos like C1 Nouvelette plus C2 Farina are struggling to bring them down. The good news? You won't need to completely defeat these bosses to earn full Primogem rewards. But it raises a new question. Can Skirk even handle this kind of content? Ironically, this might actually be her moment. The new mode seems less focused on mob clearing speed and more about high HP bosses. And that's exactly where a single target DPS like Skirk could thrive, if you support her properly and stick to her Hydro/Cryo team requirements. There's also some really cool tech baked into her kit. The Phantasmal Rift system rewards smart plays. When your team triggers Cryo reactions like Freeze or Superconduct, rifts spawn on the field. Skirk can absorb these with her charged attacks while in her 7-fold flash stance, refueling her special energy bar and extending her uptime. It adds a layer of skill and timing for players who enjoy high skill expression. But even here the restrictions creep back in. You're still bound to Cryo reactions, reinforcing that team lock-in that limits her flexibility. Combined with her lack of off-field presence, it's clear she won't slide easily into your current teams. You'll need to build around her completely. Now a quick word on constellations. C1 adds some splash AoE to her charged attacks. Nice but nothing game-changing. C2 gives her more energy from her skill and buffs her normal attacks slightly, but early impressions say it's underwhelming and might not be worth the cost. So what's the verdict? Right now, Skirk looks like a character built for a very specific setup. If you love Cryo/Hydro synergy, and you already have supports like Farina and Shinha, she could fit perfectly into your roster. But if you're after a flexible, plug-and-play main DPS, she might not be it. In that sense, she feels similar to Sino or Dihaya, cool in concept, but hard to use outside of a narrowly defined comp. Still, it's early. Beta tuning can change a lot, and we've seen characters improve dramatically at the last minute. But as of now, the hype might be outpacing her actual potential, unless you're ready to fully commit to her strengths and accept the trade-offs. So what do you think? Are you pulling for Skirk? Or waiting to see how things shake out mid-May? Thanks for hanging out. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.